third hack now is digestive issues. And again, so what we're doing here is pretty much a very snowball effect. Honestly, if you clean up your diet, if you start eating more whole nutritious food, if you start eating less processed and less refined food, if you optimize all of your current choices, if on top of that you start drinking more water, if on top of that you start, decreasing. I'm not the type to say eliminate, by the way. Whenever I start with a client, the last thing that I ever do is to tell them, you cannot eat this anymore. You need to stop eating this. Because if you have kids, if you interact with kids, I used to interact with kids. I used to be a kid myself. I know that the first thing that kids do when you tell them to not do something is what? They go and fucking do it. So why would that's pretty much how I approach my coaching program. I know for a fact that the moment you start to put a label of interdiction on a specific food, on a specific thing, there is just this rebel part in our subconscious that makes us want to do that thing even more. So I never approach my coaching with that mindset and that way of putting bad label on things. I simply like to tell my client, hey, between the french fries and the sweet potatoes, you could get way much more nutrients and you could get way much more satiety out of the sweet potatoes. Do you think it's something you'd be willing to try? I'm really collaborative. I always give them options. And then if they tell me, hey, cool, let me try the sweet potato and decrease my intake of the french fries, great, amen. If they tell me, hey, I want to stick to the french fries and maybe change other things, I'm gonna say, cool, perfect, let's look at your nutrition, let's look at your hydration then, let's look at your sleep then, let's look at your level of activity then. I try to work on other things so that even if they don't work on this thing right here, the other things that we work on are going to offset this. And at the same time, I give them context. I'm just telling them, hey, okay, cool, you don't want to make this change, but I'm going to let you know that this change right here might hinder your progress. Is that something you are okay with? I like to let my clients know what they do, what are the consequences, what they should wait, what they should expect of a choice that they make, because I usually get into these conversations in which the clients tell me, hey, I'm not losing weight, I'm not seeing results, etc. No, you know exactly why you're not losing the weight. Remember this conversation we had on this day right here? Cool. So now are you willing to revisit that and to make the adjustments? So that's pretty much how I approach my coaching. But anyway, again, if you have, this takes us back to what I was speaking about with regards to the beverages. If you don't eliminate but just decrease your sweet beverages, caffeinated beverages, alcoholic beverages, caloric beverages, and that you start to drink more water on top of that, then you are going to already start losing weight. You are going to start having more energy. You are going to start also having a better digestive system. You're going to start having more smooth poops. You're going to start having less constipation. You're going to start having less bloatings. Usually, really, these two hacks are hacks that can bring a tremendous amount of help. But let me give you a bonus hack. Something that I love for digestive functions, because why is digestive function important anyway? Because if your stomach is not well taken care of, then firstly, you're not going to be able to turn food into usable energy. You're not going to be able to burn calories as effectively, which is literally already a culprit as regards to fitness goal, as regards to weight loss goals. The second thing that happens is you're pretty much going to start being more bloated because everything is going to come down, but your stomach is not well equipped. There are no agents that can actually do the proper work, so you're going to have bloatings because that food is just sitting in there and your body is going to perceive it as something foreign and not something that it can utilize. So that's where bloatings happen. The next thing that can happen is pretty much you're going to start to have problems with going to shit. You're going to start being constipated. You're going to start having diarrhea. You're going to start having weird shit. Okay, let's say it how it is. This is one thing that I usually do to assess my clients' overall health. And I'm saying overall health because gut health is closely related to everything that happens in your body, guys, okay? There are tons of neurons down here that are connected to your brain, that are connected to your entire body. This is why, most of the time when you get food poisoning, you die, right? You literally die. You are KO. Is because the gut is so stressed, and the connection between your gut and your immune system are very close, and that's just how much everything else is impacted. All right, you cannot move at all. As opposed to, let's say that you twist your ankle. That's quite painful too, but that's not gonna stop you to go to work, to move here and there, and to still be normal-ish, because the pain will be will be isolated down here on your ankle. But ironically, when it comes to something down here, it's your entire body, it's your mind. You don't want to do anything, you don't want to go anywhere else. Okay, and so this is why digestive health is very important, and you should always assess how things look like down here. You should always wake up every day and pretty much ask yourself, hey, do I feel heavy? Do I feel bloated? Do I feel inflamed? If that's the case, then it means that something that you ate, or also sleep and lifestyle, by the way, because those have an impact on, how things work and look like down here, how that works. If you don't go to the toilets at least once a day, 1 to 3 times a day is the most ideal frequency of going to the toilets to take a shit. Once a day is already perfect, is already good. Twice a day is very nice. 3 times a day, it will depend on how your stool looks like. If you always have firm, smooth stool every time you go, then I would say you're pretty healthy. But if you go 3 times a day and that it starts to look like it starts to look like, let's say, a Twix bar that have melted. I cannot believe I just said that. If it starts to look like a Twix bar that have just melted, then there is a problem. If you go more often than that to the toilets, then there is a problem too. So basically, 1 to 2 times a day is the normal rate. If you go only 1 time every 2 days, sure, it's acceptable, but 1 time every 3 days, that's very concerning. If my clients tell me something like that, then I would start a deep assessment of everything in their lifestyle, food intolerances, things that they might be eating and that might trigger that. Okay, so this is for you to look real quick. Okay, how is your gut health? And so one thing that I typically do and I recommend to either restore or maintain proper gut health is very easy. In the morning, boil warm water, add some form of honey or also lemon in it, and then 1 tablespoon or even 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. All right, you pretty much stir and you drink all of that fasted. So apple cider vinegar has been shown by studies for being one of the most powerful gut flora regulator that exists. In addition to that, you could also invest into some form of probiotics and prebiotic supplements. Probiotics and prebiotic supplements are pretty much what are how do you say that, what regulates all the digestive settings in our gut. So sometimes when, let's say for example that you're someone who's always sick, that always use a lot of antibiotics, let's say that you're someone who eats a lot of junk food, who drinks a lot of alcohol, who just lives a suboptimal lifestyle, and who use a lot of chemicals in their day-to-day life, that can impact and disrupt the probiotics and prebiotics profile of your gut. So supplementing, bringing them from external source can definitely be helpful. So that can be something that help you out in terms of digestive issue, which could already solve anything related to bloating, constipations, diarrhea, and those kinds of things. All right, which brings us to the next issue, which is joint pain. I don't have many hacks for this. I would just say if you know that you have a lot of joint pains, then look at how often you work out, because sometimes that's where it comes from. Sometimes we overdo, we overtrain, and we under recover. So whenever you start to feel like you feel tight in your back, on your knees, on your elbows, or those kinds of things, it will be nice to look at a deload when it comes to working out, because this is also something that people are under the impression that they should train hard all month, all year long, and just keep pretty much raising up the intensity from January all the way until December. That's not how things work. You need to approach your training program in the form of a cycle. It's kind of the same way that you approach a diet. There are some days where you eat less calories, there are some days where you eat more calories, there are some days where you eat normal calories, because you pretty much go through some phases of, let's say, for example, you want to lose weight, you have a very long and hectic and stressful days at work. Sometimes you don't have many goals, so you just do some form of mindful eating. Working out also has to be approached the same way, because remember, what you're doing in terms of working out, it should never only be about one goal. Okay, so we have one, two, three main goals when it comes to workout. The first goal, the first set of goal is usually related to performance. All right, you want to become strong, lift heavy, become super powerful, run the next Spartan or CrossFit competition or high rocks race. The other set of goal is pretty much you want to look good. Like, you don't give any damn craps about performance. You just want to look good naked. You just want to like have abs, chest, and pretty much have a physique that will get you to, you want to post thirst traps all over Tinder. Let's say that, to make it really simple. This is your goal. Then the third goal is gonna be pretty much you want to have a little bit of a balance between everything, and you just want to be functional. You don't necessarily want to look super strong or be super strong, but your main focus is to at least be able to carry the groceries and to lift heavy shit when you guys come out of Sam's Club or Costco or whatever. So people, you need to keep in mind that as you work towards one goal, you are effectively keeping yourself away from the two other goals. And these creates some gaps in your overall health and fitness. When you work on this goal right here, for example, performance, you are effectively taking yourself away from the looks benefits. Same thing with the other goals. So as you look at your workout program in a year, you never want to be too stuck and stay too long into one goal only. It is good to navigate through each one of them. And this, I go into this into a more specific way into my coaching program, but all of this to tell you that you don't want to train hard all the time or follow the same exact workout pattern all the time. Sometimes you need to change. Let's say every 6 to 12 weeks, I believe, you need to change your exercise, to change your program, to change your rep ranges, to change your frequency, how many times you show up to the gym. You need to change all of those things. But something that you need to change, mostly if you are the type to deal with joint pains and fatigue and all of those things, is going to be your volume. Every 4 to 6 weeks, what I like to implement in my coaching program for my clients, mostly if they start to complain about being fatigued, having hunger, having crappy sleep, not seeing improvement in the lifts, is to do what we call a deload week. Deload pretty much consists of deloading their week. So it's either not going to the gym anymore for 1 to 2 weeks and pretty much just insisting on stretching, mobility, resting, recovering, eating more calories than usual, or training slightly lesser at a lesser intensity, lesser frequency, meaning that we would go 2 times in the week instead of 4 times in the week. We would do 3 sets of exercise instead of 4 sets of each exercise in the program. All kinds of things to decrease the stress, because stress, physical stress, is a real thing. Most of the time when your body is tired, the pain that it creates are pain. We feel it and we perceive it as pain, but sometimes it is actually your body's way of stopping you from keeping on going hard on the muscle. Otherwise you'll break the joints and you'll injure yourself. That's pretty much what tightness means. So when you have tightness, know that that's a signal that your body is sending you. It's your body trying to tell you, hey, motherfucker, try to slow it down, basically. All right, so joint pains, normally if you drink water, if you've applied all the tricks that I've spoken about today, then you should already not have any of those issues at all, okay? And we're about to speak about the mindset part in a few, but I just wanted to stop real quick and to ask you real quick if you have or relate to any of those problems that you are currently dealing with, and if you have been trying to solve them, for example, weight loss, weight gain, unexplained weight gain, mostly because this is something I typically see with expats. If you struggle with energy, if you struggle with consistent hunger, binge eating, with a bad relationship with food, with super strong craving, if you struggle with self-sabotaging, if you cannot stick to your journey for a long period of time, if you struggle with digestion, and if you pretty much hate your freaking life, and if you are not able to get out of this cycle and to pretty much get on top of your health, then I really want to help you. All right, I've been doing this for now 7 years. I've helped hundreds of expats in the age range of 30 to 60 years old, male, female, with all kinds of life conditions, and I've been able to help them get unstuck, lose weight, feel their best, and pretty much sustain those changes long term. So I really want you to think if maybe a one-on-one opportunity to work with me will be the most beneficial for you. I don't want to be a pusher, but as someone who knows that what he does can help people, I feel obligated to suggest and to propose and to invite you in. But of course, I'll have to see if I can work with you. I'll have to see if I can actually help you, because I don't want to just enroll people who, firstly, don't even want to listen, who are not even going to be doing the work, who don't even want to learn. I don't want to work with people who, for example, who have serious medical conditions too, because I'm not a doctor. That's not what I'm qualified for. So I typically like to just have a quick chat with whoever want to work with me first, to have a quick consultation and to see if what I offer and what I do can actually be beneficial for them. So if that's you, if you're interested in this, simply send me a message. You have my contact and we will hop on a quick chat. Back to the episode. And now we're going to speak about mindset. One of the main ways somebody usually gets stuck or mess up on the fitness journey, and actually one of the ways that make it hard to even get started on the fitness journey, is motivation. Discipline is the next issue that usually comes when they are 2 weeks in or 2 months in. And you know what? Something that I've learned and that I know about motivation is that, firstly, it's something that I don't believe in. I believe that the reason that make you struggle with motivation is simply because of the fact that you think you need to have it. It's kind of the same as when you wake up in the morning and you think you need to have your cup of coffee. You could survive without that coffee because you're already so adapted anyway that that caffeine is not going to do anything for you. Like, you're already so used to it that that dose is not going to do anything, but you still drink it because you think that's what is going to enable you and ensure that you have a good day. It's not the case. You will go and have a good day because you decide to, which brings us to the concept of having motivation and discipline to start your fitness journey. It starts with a strong decision, guys. It starts with really assessing how bad do you want it. I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker here or some sort of Davy Goggins type of things. I don't think I'll ever be better than him at hyping people up, but I just want to give you the logical and objective way of looking at things. The real reason why you don't change is because you don't truly want it. The reason why you don't want to change is because you never really took the time to ask yourself what will be the negative consequences of me not changing in 3 to 5 years. And this is actually one of the reasons why I like to have initial consultations whenever someone want to work with me. One of the questions that I ask them is, hey, how important are these goals for you? I just want to start to feel better in my clothes. It sucks to go outside and to not to hide from pictures. Then I dig deeper, ask them. So, like, would you say that that's the only reason why you want to lose weight? Like, would you just want to do it for pictures and to look good in social settings? No, actually, I want to be able to play around with my kids. I want to be able to run a marathon one day. I want to be able to pretty much just feel good and to not get out of breath whenever I work and whenever I walk up the stairs. Great, gotcha. So if you don't make any changes, then if everything that you've discussed with me today, your goals and your desires, just stays goals and desires and there's never any execution, what do you think would happen in the future? Well, I would really hate myself. I'd fall into depression. I might end up in the hospital, etc., etc., etc. So on my consultation calls, I like to go and to dig in the emotional part and the reason why someone want to change, and not necessarily the technical part of the diet or the program, because it is never about the diet or the program. It is usually because of the practical aspect of the diet and the program, and it is usually because of their willingness and their commitment and their core desire and their intrinsic motivation that have gotten them to be stuck. So I like to go deep into those whenever I go on the first interaction with a client, because I don't want someone who is not willing to do the work. I don't want to work with people who just want to lose weight for the sake of losing weight, because if they come with me with only those kinds of goals, and all those changes that I'm going to require for them, all of the changes and the steps outside their comfort zone that is expected from them, it's just going to look like very unhealthy, unpleasant chores to them if they only have a goal of losing weight. If your goal is strong enough, and this is the reason why you all fuck up on your fitness journeys, is because you have never gotten and taken the time to go deeper and to see bigger than just your physical goals. I've had people who came to me because they had, cholesterol issues, because they had high blood pressure, because they were so overweight that their joints were really painful every time they would work. That's real pain. The desire to go out of those previous things that I just mentioned is way much more stronger and will equip you with so much more spark and energy to stick to your journey, rather than just thinking of, I just want to lose weight because everybody does it. No. You're not someone that I want to work for, that I want to work with, if that's what you say. And you're also not someone who is going to actually change if that's all that you say. Let me tell you. So when we look at motivation, I don't think people lack of motivation, but people lack of connection to their core desire. So again, go back to that list. Assess everything that you want for yourself over the next 3 to 4 years, 3 to 5 years. Assess everything that you don't want over the next 3 to 4 years, all related to your health, your wellness, your fitness, your weight. Okay? You need to find at least 10 things that you want and 10 things that you don't want. And then you're going to write in another column, what are the things that will happen if you actually manifest, and if all of the things that you want came true? In which way will your life change? Then you're going to write down too, in which way would your life change if you actually don't make any changes, and if all of those negative things that you don't want actually happen. You need to really dig deep, super deep, into the core of what you want, why you want it, what would happen if you don't make it happen, and why is this a problem? People just speak about what they want and that's it. And you wonder why it becomes hard for you to stick to some sort of strict and restrictive diet. The problem was never the strict or the restrictive diet. The problem is that your commitment to yourself was just not strong enough to stick to this strict and restrictive diet. You cannot just go into a keto diet and completely eliminate carbs of your diet just because you want to lose weight, because someone hit your ego and called you overweight. There's a big discrepancy, all right? If the hardship of a weight loss journey is here, then you also need to make that match with the goals and desire that you want. So whenever it comes to motivation and discipline, guys, it's just a matter of knowing and asking yourself if you really want it. Honestly, that's really what I would have to say. And that's pretty much what I would have to share today. Obviously, I could go on more hours about this, about what I typically do to help people, because there's a lot of hacks that I could go about, which I might, hop back on another video and shoot another podcast and record another talk for you guys. In the meantime, if you want to learn more from me, okay, then you have either my one-on-one coaching program, which again, you have to be granted invitation and you have to be a good fit. I have to like you, you have to like me. That's how my program works. I don't want to work with people who are going to be headaches to me. I don't want to work with people who think I'm going to be headaches to them. So if you want to enroll into that program, let's have a chat. Let's just see if we can be a good fit for each other. If you want to learn from me, but not necessarily have to interact with me, then I actually have something that we call School of Health. It's a library of course in which I pretty much upload and create in-depth courses about diet, about dieting methods, about workouts, about all kinds of things that can be valuable to your journey, whatever step of your journey you currently are. Okay, so let me know if that's something that you want to have access to. Write down the comments or click the link that is in the YouTube description and I'll hook you up. Right, until next time, peace.